Please help me welcome to the 𝐷𝐵𝐿 stage, Sandra Bothy.
Imagine this. You walk into a meeting and someone speaks with a strong accent. Do you lean in or do you quietly check out? When I began speaking tonight, did I have your full attention or did part of you tune out? If you did tune out, you're not alone. When a voice carries an accent born from survival, not from privilege, the world often decides if that voice is worthy of your time, respect, and credibility. This isn't an accent issue. It's language bias, and it exists in all of us. It's one of the most invisible, socially accepted forms of discrimination in the world today. I know this because I lived it. At 30, I left Colombia when my employer transferred me to New York. Spanish was all I ever spoken. I came with dreams, degrees, and drive, but soon I muted myself, not from lack of ideas, but fear of being judged, dismissed, and misunderstood. I took ESL classes and accent reduction, but I lost my voice. I burned out. I rehearsed every sentence before meetings. I watched my peers' ideas accepted while mine were doubted. Not because what I said, but how I sounded. But I endured, I learned, and I grew. Eventually, I realized the problem wasn't my voice. It was the world deciding which voices matter. This isn't about blame. It's about awareness. Because whether English is your first language or not, this affects us all. Research shows that 95% of our behavior is unconscious. Our brain takes shortcuts, favoring what is easy and familiar, and that is how it decides what to focus on and what to ignore. The downside? Those shortcuts are shaped by what we have seen, heard, and been told true or not. And without realizing it, we start making silent assumptions, like, this voice isn't smart. This accent doesn't belong. This person doesn't understand. What if people assume that about you? How will you feel? When we value speed in communication over connection, we start filtering people out before they finish speaking. That's how accent bias happens so easily. We are wired for speed and ease. You see, we believe that communication should sound fast, clear, confident, and native. But by native, we mean English that was born in London, New York, or Sydney. We pretend that English is a neutral tool, but in truth, it's a filter for leadership and credibility. And it is a filter that favors 400 million while filtering out billions. Language bias isn't just about hurt feelings. It costs people's jobs, dignity, and opportunity. It costs entire communities the right to shape the future. A global study found that non-native English speakers are judged more harshly, interrupted more often, and given less airtime, even when their ideas are valuable. They are told to fix their speech. And we call it accent reduction. But what it really is identity reduction. We are asking people to sand down the very parts of themselves that share their courage, their lives, just to sound acceptable to somebody else's ears. Immigrants get judged for not mastering English fast. English speakers celebrated for learning a second language. Now, that is a double standard. So the question is, will you check out or lean in when you hear an accent? Many believe listening is natural, but active listening takes effort. It is engaging our ears and our eyes. It is about the message, not the perfect sounds. It is about showing up fully without tuning out. It looks like intention, connection, and courage. It says, I'm a listener with empathy and presence. I'm human. The goal isn't to sound all the same. We are no AI robots. The goal is to sound like who we are and be heard anyway. Every voice has an accent. Multilingual voices carry resilience, creativity, and culture. They speak differently and they think differently. Their minds are constantly connecting meanings across different systems. They see relationships others may miss. They are wired for adaptability and insight. So when you hear an accent, you are hearing a mind light up with meaning. What if the most valuable voice in the room is the one carrying a story no one else can tell? What if the question isn't how well do they speak English, but are we listening well enough? Fluent ideas don't always come in fluent sentences. And wisdom doesn't always sound like perfect English. Some say, but communication needs clarity. Yes, but clarity isn't conformity. Others say, but we are helping people fitting in. No, we are asking them to make themselves smaller. Fitting in is not the same as belonging. But it is hard to understand heavy accents. True, at first, but just like music, our ears adapt when our hearts are open. Language bias is everyone's issue because we are all listeners. And the greatest power that we hold is not just in how we speak, but in how we choose to listen. So I invite you, when you hear an accent, lean in, not away. When someone struggles for a word, wait, let them land, let them finish. In decision-making spaces, amplify all voices, not just the polished ones. Listening isn't just a courtesy. It's an act of justice and the ultimate show of respect. The truth is, you don't need perfect English to lead. You don't need to sound like anyone else to belong. And you don't need to erase your accent to be respected. Your voice, the one shaped by 2 languages, 3 or 4 languages, is not your weakness, it's your superpower. Let's stop teaching people how to speak to be accepted and start teaching the world how to listen. Because when we do, we won't just hear more voices, we'll finally hear the truth. Thank you.